Hey, second graders, I promised you that when you guys came out here and you asked all those questions in the courtyard, you had so many inquisitive questions. Well, I didn't have all the answers to all of your great questions, but I know someone here at Flower Hill who does. Hey everybody, I'm going to try to help you with some of the answers to the questions you had. And you had some amazing questions. I was so impressed when Miss Renee gave me your list of questions. So one of the questions several students had was about these seed pods. And this is what they look like now, late in the year. They get all dried and they fall from the tree like the leaves do, because it's a deciduous tree. But earlier in the year, when they first came out, they were more like this. And I'm just going to show you this. It's a little windy out here today, so we have the clipboard. So when they first are growing, they look like this. They kind of look like pea pods, if you've ever had pea pods. And they are in with the leaves. This picture just has a few of the seed pods, but I found another picture online. I went to a lot of different databases to learn a little bit more about locust trees, honey locust trees. And here's one that had a lot of seed pods. They're very big. So it depends on the type of tree and how big it is, how many seed pods it has. And this one had a lot of seed pods because you can see them all around the ground. So seed pods, when they're ripening and getting to the end of the year, when they get like this, they get very sweet. And that's what I found was the reason why it's called a honey locust, because the seed pods are very sweet and the animals love them. They're like a sweet treat for them. So that was one of the wonderful questions. We also had questions about the plants that are growing on the tree. Some people had questions about these. And this is called lichen. This light green, kind of grayish, is called lichen. And this darker green kind of feels like a carpet if you rub on it. This is moss, and these are different plants that will grow on trees because they just love to grow on them. It's a great place, and it's nice and safe and warm and dry, and they're facing the sun part of the day, and they're not facing the sun part of the day. There's lots of lichen on all sides of the tree and going up. Some of the lichen is much thicker, and some of it's not quite as thick, but it's all, it just loves being on the bark. It's just a perfect place for it to grow because it gets what it needs, the air and the sun, and a safe place to grow. Hey second graders, now we're at our crepe myrtle tree. And if you looked closely at my sign, crepe is spelled two different ways, because depending on what part of the world they're talking about crepe myrtles, it's spelled two different ways, which is kind of a fun thing. You had lots of great questions about this tree as well. And the biggest question was, why does it peel? And we see lots of the bark, there's a little bit of the bark left in here. And it's just a normal process that a tree goes through, a crepe myrtle goes through. It's kind of like when you get your hair cut. A little bit like when you get your hair cut. It's a little bit like when you outgrow clothes and you have to get new clothes because you're just too big for your old clothes. Or it's kind of like when a snake sheds its skin because it's gotten too big for its current skin. So as a tree grows, it's growing up, but it's also growing out this way, and so it just gets too big for its bark, its skin. But in this particular tree, it peels away, and it shows this beautiful wood underneath. And our forester, she told us about why it did that, and she said part of it was so that the bugs can't eat the wood quite as easily, because the bugs, as it was peeling and peeling off, I noticed that there were a lot of bugs crawling around underneath, in between the main part of the trunk and the bark. And so that's part of what's happening. It's just a natural process. that happens every year. And it's just, this particular tree just has these beautiful colors underneath. It's just kind of like a surprise present when you don't know what's going to be underneath it. The other thing I really wanted to tell you about, because I think it's just absolutely fascinating how these two trunks, they kind of split apart. They were one trunk at the bottom, and then they split apart, so they're kind of like sisters or brothers. Or sometimes I've heard people talk about it being a husband and wife. If they've, there's two of them, and then they come together here where they hold their arms out or their hands out to hold each other, and they connect again. And this part here, right where they're connected again, is called inosculation. This is a really cool word. And I made sure to type it out so you can see how it looks, because there's a lot of letters in there, a lot of vowels. But that is the process where the tree, they join up again. And so it's happening here. And then this little branch in here is also starting to fuse with this side of the tree as well. So it's all one tree, but they've just kind of gone into two sections. Actually, we actually kind of almost have three sections. Yeah, because back here it also separates as well. So there's several sections, but they're all part of the same main trunk. But this is where they fuse back together because they love each other so much. They don't want to be apart. And that's called inosculation. And it's just such a cool word. The last thing I wanted to tell you about our crepe myrtle is some of the reasons why a tree will split, the trunk will split. Sometimes it's had some stress on it because of bad weather, and sometimes it's because something has happened. I'm just looking at my notes. Sometimes if it's got part of it's gotten diseased, it might split off to try to save the other part of the tree, and then sometimes it will heal itself back up, so that's why the inosculation happens. So there's lots of different reasons why it can split into two trunks, but that is the biggest reasons, is that either there's some sort of stress on the tree, which could be disease, physical damage, or environmental stress, something that's happened in the environment that's caused it to split. So that is a really important question too, because we do see quite a few trees that do this, but then there's a lot of trees that are just one big giant trunk that goes up, and so that's kind of what makes our environment really cool, because different things happen and the tree tries to keep itself healthy as much as it can. Hey, second graders. So you should be familiar with where I am now, and that's the library. And many of you know I have lots of books about trees, because we've done some lessons about trees this year and last. And I have lots and lots of books. So these are just a couple of examples of books we have where you can learn lots of things about lots of trees, or learn something about a specific type of tree. And if you want to check out books, if you don't see them on display up here, the section where books about trees is in 582.16, this number right here. And this tells us where it is located on the shelf. And that is over here. So all of the 500 books, as you know, I think, because this is the most popular section of the library, is about natural science. So 582.16 is in this section right here on this shelf, where the treecology book is. So this is where you'll find books about trees and plants, will be all in this section. So I hope that learning with Miss Renee about books, and having our forester, Miss Natasha, come out, and the things I've taught you as well, that you will continue learning about books, because they are, learn about books, trees and books, because trees are amazing. And we can also find lots of things in our online databases like PebbleGo and Scholastic Watch and Learn and Britannica School. All of those online places, databases we have lots and lots of resources as well, because I've shared those with you too. So keep on learning, and I hope that you keep learning lots about trees and all kinds of other things.